Hello everyone. So when his roots are deliberately maintained, it's not just about aesthetics. It's a signal. And that's where the mind begins to wander. Where observation turns into contemplation and logic quietly joins hands with hope. Because if Jimin took the time for such precise care, then something, some moment, some appearance, some chapter, is being prepared. Something he wants to face as the best version of himself. Something that requires intention. And perhaps something we'll see sooner than we expect. Naturally, that thought leads us to what we miss most. We want to see them again. Together. In front of the camera. On stage. In interviews. In live streams. Even in those unplanned, accidental moments that somehow say the most. That longing inevitably circles back to one name. Jungkook. Waiting for Jungkook's update feels like holding your breath. You don't know when it will come, but you're certain that it will. And within the fandom, while some theories are born purely from wishful thinking, others are built on something far sturdier. Years of observation, repeated patterns, and details that refuse to fade no matter how often they're ignored. This theory belongs to the second kind. Not because anyone wants to force a narrative. Not because fans are desperate to invent a story. But because when too many pieces come together, they begin to form a picture that makes sense, whether people are comfortable with it or not. One of the most consistently avoided, minimized, or quietly brushed aside possibilities is this. That Jimin and Jungkook may have lived together during a certain period, before everything became too visible, too sensitive, too complicated. To be clear, this is not presented as an absolute truth. It is a possibility, one built from public records, official documents, press reports, indirect evidence, and perhaps most importantly, consistent behavioral patterns. Since at least 2019, records show that Jungkook had a registered address at 91 Hanam. This detail surfaced alongside media reports about his Itaewon property purchase. Initially, some articles mistakenly referred to 91 Hanam as BTS's residence before later correcting it to Hanam the Hill. But the appearance of 91 Hanam in those reports was not random. Those same articles stated that it was unclear whether Jungkook would move after his lease ended in September 2021. Public records from that period confirm that his registered address was indeed 91 Hanam. This is not speculation, it is documented fact. At the same time, property regulations allowed units at 91 Hanam to be leased with an option to purchase. Jungkook was not the buyer. Jimin, however, officially purchased a unit there in 2021. Namjoon is also known to have owned a residence in the same complex. These are solid, verifiable points. Jungkook as a single unit. This idea is further supported by a 2021 account from a ventilation technician who reported seeing Namjoon, Jimin, and Jungkook at the complex, suggesting visits to more than one unit, not a shared group residence. Perhaps the most telling detail is this. Jungkook used the 91 Hanam address for official correspondence related to his Itaewon property. That property was leased to an embassy, involving legal contracts and formal documentation. In such cases, the address listed must be an active, legitimate residence. This places 91 Hanam at the center of Jungkook's daily, practical life. Not long after these details surfaced, the narrative that Jungkook had nothing to do with 91 quietly disappeared. Later, Big Hit rented him an apartment at Brunnan. His first livestream there showed an almost empty space, suggesting a sudden move rather than a home he had settled into over time. When everything is placed side by side, registered addresses, property ownership, consistent behavioral patterns, daily dependency, and an abrupt relocation, the idea that Jimin and Jungkook lived together at 91 Hanam between mid-2019 and April 2021 no longer feels far-fetched. Is it undeniable truth? No. Could it be wrong? Yes. Does it make sense? Absolutely. And perhaps that's enough. Because this story doesn't require a public confession. Addresses can change. Narratives can be rewritten. Rumors can be denied. But dynamics, those quiet, repeated ways two people move through life, rarely lie. Even when others shared the same space, we never saw what we consistently see with Jimin and Jungkook. The way they gravitate toward each other without explanation, the way they depend on one another effortlessly, the way they show up as if it's the most natural thing in the world. Maybe we'll never be given a direct answer. But sometimes truth doesn't arrive as a statement. Sometimes, it reveals itself as patterns, soft, persistent, and impossible to ignore, repeating over and over again even when the world chooses to look away. Thank you for spending your time here in the Jikook universe. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time.